So now change the and refresh the your HTML page. That should works. And then now you have the 10 number 50 to build it, and then it's static some like product testing blah blah blah, and then you have some static value and then generate that. So you see how it is working properly. So you see that there is no number start from the iterations, so it says static values, and it doesn't matter how much it is. Then it's, even though this one is working because this is the static value for this one, then we have then the functional code. So we can go back to our original source code. That's our logic. So that means I plus, and that's every time it's generated, then it sets additional. Oh my goodness. So save it, and then we refresh again the button, and then generate. You see that now it's a 0 and 1. It's total number 8 record 1 0 to 7. You see the 0 to 7. So that means this is the one of the example how can you manipulate your HTML page, or what you need. You just written down for the business logic externally, and then do the operation what you need. So it's that's I say this is the very beginner level to professional level. So that means you need to very clearly understand what I mean, how we can handle the professional way. So that means that means we cover why it is important JavaScript to learn for web development or front-end development, why the play the Spring framework, JavaScript frameworks to really get support for the developer for the front-end development, and how can you place your JavaScript functions or JavaScript code inside your HTML page or externally. The more professional way that I already talking about you in the external way to build the JavaScript functionalities, the external files, call these files into the head sections, and call the functionalities that you need or that's you written down. So now I will show you a little bit example, more complex example using the third-party JavaScript library in my other projects that's already available in my channels. So if I go to my my web.js, and then if you go to these projects, I will show you you see the really segregated all the dependency that the third-party JavaScript library, jQuery library, graph library, and other JavaScript libraries located there. All libraries and CSS classes located here that I need, and then the images that I need here. So you see these pictures, that's everything properly, and this is all the JavaScript library that I am written down for my applications. So you can open with the notepad. You see the complex, a little bit complex JavaScript library that's you written down, and then using the third-party OpenLayer JavaScript library inside you written down your functions. You see all of them. Just follow the screencast that I have it, the screencast number 18. How complex you can write down. How can you integrate the third-party JavaScript library inside your JavaScript function that's you need your web functionalities. You see the overall idea. But I said I will talk again a little bit more about how can you build, how can you do those complex functionalities in the later case. But I will give it to you the initial case. How can you think how it will do for the integration of the third-party JavaScript lecture inside your JavaScript functions, and then use those JavaScript functions for your web application that's you written down. The dynamic station coverage and dynamic station points layer, that's I already talking about these functionalities that I said in the functions in the example in my channels. If I go to the channels, it has some this is the example that I am looking for. So this is all the written here. So you see the written here. So all the functionalities, I call the third party and build the station here, and then graphs libraries, and then see all the menu bars and so on and so forth. All things work properly. That's we expected. Let's see. Okay, then all the, so now you get the idea how you can write down the external JavaScript functions, and even though external JavaScript use the third-party JavaScript functions, and then build your features and integrate those functions into your HTML page. This is one of the JavaScript function written down, and this is the HTML page that's you are consuming. That's we are using the HTML page. So if I go to the HTML page, you see all the head sections. You see the head section is defined, and then all things. This is the third-party JavaScript library, jQuery library, plot library is defined where my JavaScript located. That I will show you. JS plot JavaScript libraries in locations, and this is my theme and the CSS, the external CSS definition, and this is my customs JavaScript libraries that's I written for my functionalities, and this is my customs CSS library, CSS script I written down, and then I call my functions. You can see the two functions loading these JavaScript functions, graph functions, and then build the pages that I need to build the application. There's a printing functions and JavaScript functions, and also on so forth. How efficient it is, the professional way to write down. Very simple HTML page, but you can segregate your really functionality in the JavaScript functions, external JavaScript functions. Very efficient, very professional way. I believe you can follow that one. You can really get really professional examples, and then you can very quickly start the professional career for the web development or web career development. Doesn't matter, web GIS development, web application development, or front-end development, doesn't matter. But it is that's I said, it's the professional way to do. You see the JavaScript library itself is here located, the third-party JavaScript library integration. Let's run the pages. That's I will show you again. So it's open open the browser, or it doesn't matter which browser. So you see the application, what we expected, what we need, and then all things work properly. You have all the functionalities. It has the Google Maps. It's a developer. It has the different type of Google Map, hybrid maps, street maps, and terrain maps. All things works properly. That's what we expected. And then it's terrain maps, the elevation maps. You see it's working. So you have a grid sections. Grid functionalities. This is grid functional. You can switch on, switch off, and has hiding maps. You can do letting grid off. You can see the location of your mouse positions, and then so on. You can see switch on, switch off, all the stations, quick measurements. See it works properly. That's how we expected. And then here the graph layers that we expected in the menu list. You see the on-click events. It's working properly. This is really good example. Very simple JavaScript library. You write down the JavaScript functions you consume using based on the open layers. So you inside your JavaScript function, you call the open layer functions and build the really professional dynamic web applications that you need. So you have a lot of functionality. You can written down your polygon also, lines, and then so on and so forth. That's so all the possibilities that you have it in here. All possibilities. I mean, the mouse off and on and zoom in, zoom out functionalities still it works. That's what expected. And has navigation, left, right, top, and zoom in, zoom out functionalities. It works. So that's so it is I have printing functionalities that's written as default printing functionalities. Still it's working. That's perfect. Oops, sorry. I closed the application itself. Again, run it again. Sorry. But it's the depending on which browser you are running, you can run any browser. You can check it, the browser validation check, even though in the professional application we do the validation checks and for all cases for the browser. So graph functions, third party, open layers, and your functions you build it application. Just follow the screencast number 18. There is many examples for that one. Now screencast number 37, I believe. Yes, that's it. And there is many examples in my channels. How can you integrate those things together? So So go back to the example that we are talking about. So that's